The good news is you can do this. And I'm going to encourage you, whatever you've been through, my prayers are with you. My thoughts are with you. Hi, I'm Dr. Rolla, clinical psychologist. It's a little bit cold out here, but I have a pretty thick jacket and I just wanted to be out, get some of that beautiful sunshine in here, and also talk to you and share this episode 20 with you. And the title is, I had a full-blown panic attack. This is important for me to share because oftentimes when we look at people, we see the side of them that is high functioning, positive, forward thinking, motivational. But we may lean in the direction, which can be a dangerous direction, of minimizing and denying some of the emotions that a person experiences when they go through challenges. In my case, I don't believe that I had minimized it. I knew that it was going to be emotionally jarring when I became aware that my marriage was ending. I knew that it was going to be overwhelming. I knew that it was going to be incredibly destabilizing for me and the children. So in some ways, because of that, my mental preparation, I was somewhat ready in that I knew it was going to be hard. And because I knew it was going to be hard, when I felt overwhelmed, instead of disregarding those feelings and minimizing it, I accepted that this is part of the story. This is part of the journey. I think what I was rather surprised about is when I started to experience anxiety. And I'm going to share how the first time I became aware about how that I was suffering, I was struggling with anxiety, and what I did about it, how that process helped me, and it's been a positive experience. And let me go into that right now. You want to know a little bit more about why I started this series? Please go to episode 1. I have many other topics I've talked about, but this is something that I'm really excited to be able to share with you now because I don't suffer from anxiety at this point. I fully embrace that I'm divorced, and I've been divorced over 14 and 15 years. I'm probably close to 14 or 15 years now. I am incredibly grateful for my healing process and how that has helped me to be empathetic towards my patients, towards people that I come across. Not that I was not empathetic before, but I'm even more empathetic. And I'm also thankful because this experience of anxiety also helped me to monitor my emotional life at a much deeper level, even after I've healed from the pain of divorce. This has been like opened a new world of me being very emotionally in tune with myself. It's one thing to treat people and provide counsel and help diagnose. It's another thing when you as a clinician, I as a clinician, pays attention to her inner life. And that, I believe, has made me even much better in the work that I do as a psychologist. So let me tell you about this panic attack. I didn't know what it was. So if you didn't know what it was and you're surprised when it happens and you're surprised that you're suffering in one area or the other, that's fine. It's normal. It's new to you. It's new to your mindset. One of those days, it was about maybe 3 to 6 months after I'd moved out of my matrimonial home. I loved my new home. It was incredibly spacious. My daughters had their individual rooms. We had our kitchen set up. House was lovely. Everything seemed like we made this huge change and things are going well. The girls are doing well in school. I'm doing well at work, and everything is in a really good place. And I was feeling incredibly good about, how far I've come and how much I've overcome to get to this place. And just in the evening, late in the evening, I was in my bed and I just jumped out of bed and said, "Oh my God, I'm divorced. And I said that to myself. There was nobody else there. And then I felt this numbness, Like the right side of my body, there was no feeling on the right side of my body. And then as I looked on my right side, I felt like my hand was limp, and I was staring at it, and it scared me. I called the helpline for my insurance, and the advice nurse asked for the symptoms, and I shared it with her, and she said, I really think you're having a panic attack. And she started giving me, technical advice, and I said, thank you. I understand. I'm a psychologist, and I appreciate your information I've received. So I ended that call. But that was not the end for me. If you are struggling emotionally or you're being challenged, do not minimize and disregard what you're being told, what is being shared with you. Do not feel that I can handle this, is superhuman, I'm superhuman. We don't say that, but we act superhuman, like, I got this, I'm a psychologist, I know what I'm doing. That was not what I did. I began to pay attention to this feeling of numbness and this anxiety. And for my training, I understood that my body was in a survival mode when the divorce proceedings started. I was busy making arrangements, doing the legal part, getting my daughter situated, making sure my job is situated, being very process-like about drama. I don't want to do drama after my divorce. Rules in place for my children in terms of their college schoolwork, but also rules in place in terms of what the expectations are in our home. How I don't want to know what's going on in their dad's home. It's none of my business. How we need to focus. Do you see how my mind has been very busy trying to get structure in place? Because if there's no structure in place and everything is unpredictable, then we may not be in the same house, but the negative effects of divorce will continue to linger and affect us in a negative way. And that's something that I wasn't going to allow to happen. But in all this, trying to keep things together, I was in my survival mode, and I don't think my body or my mind was given the permission to feel like I should. To feel the depth of what I have been through. And so I then knew at that point, I knew at that point that I'm now a little bit more relaxed. Things are a little bit more stable. And now my mind or my body is saying, I want to feel now. I want to feel now. I want to feel now. And that's a good thing. It's okay to feel, because those feelings need to be worked through. Those feelings don't need to be thrown away and just swept under the carpet to become a bigger issue down the road. That is my body and my mind's way of saying, let's go on this journey of healing. And I had to respond in a way that is healthy. Not like a fix-it attitude. My response was, let's go on that journey. It's okay to feel. You are a doctor of psychology, but you're human. You're a mother. You loved him. You gave so much for him. So if you feel anxious and it's come to your awareness that you're divorced now, it's okay to feel. I began to embrace that feeling. Not push it away. Embrace it. Not embrace it so that I don't go to work anymore, I'm in bed, but embrace it gradually. Gradually. So the number one thing I did is gave myself permission to feel some sadness and pain. Don't use motivational words to get it out of my mind. It's okay that I feel some grief and some anxiety about the future, because my sense of safety has been derailed somewhat. Even though that's not what it is today, but that's how it felt then. So I made up my mind, I'm gonna need to rest. Give myself permission to feel. I accepted that feeling as normal, number one. Number two, I began to monitor my emotional states. So I'll sit back when something happens mentally, not just sit physically, but kind of relax mentally and say, what was that about? Do you feel really anxious about that? Do you feel really sad about that? Do you feel okay? I started to do inner processing more than ever before. Rather than disregard it and keep on that survival, that busy mode, sit back and let me look within and assess how I am actually doing within. The actor Twitch or DJ used to be on the Ellen DeGeneres show, just killed himself this last week and did a video on TikTok 24 hours before. It is possible to have inner feelings of sadness, depression, and anxiety, and not that the person is even so much hiding it, but still function in other places and in other roles and be doing well at it. I was functioning as a psychologist working full time, but I did not want it to just be about the patients that I work with. I wanted to also look within for myself. What do you need? How are you feeling? That was really important, to assess that and give that respect. Kind of like if you were sick and you went to the doctor and the doctor says you need to drink a lot of water and take some sleeping a little bit more to feel better. Kind of that. Do a mental check-in on a regular basis as much as needed during the day and pay attention to those feelings, to monitor them. That's the second thing I did. The third thing I did is I began to pay close attention to aspects of the divorce that was anxiety provoking for me. I noticed that when I get a letter in the mail from the courthouse, my anxiety will kind of go up a little bit. So when something comes in the mail, I would just look at it and say, I'll check back with that in another 24 to 48 hours. And at that time, my mom lived with me, so my mom would say, you need to open that letter. I said, no, I don't need to open any letter. I'll open it when I'm ready. Which means nobody puts my life in some crazy, anxiety-provoking drama because of a divorce. It can wait. This is not a criminal case. This is not something that I need to handle right now. It can wait. So I will relax, have a good day, and on a day when I'm less busy and I've done my chores or finished my work, then I'll just open the letter then. So I was distancing myself from things that would spike my anxiety, and I would open it up and then handle it that way. So that was like my number 3 thing I did to just keep that anxiety down. Understand that I don't have to respond to everything all the time because I'm going through a divorce. I have an ownership of my feelings and my emotions, and no marriage, no man is driving me crazy. You know what I mean? No. We're not doing that. This anxiety is normal. We're going to process it, but we're going to process it at a manageable level. This is what I'm telling myself. We're not going to let it spike out of control to where I can't function as a mom, as a person. And then the last thing I did is started doing a lot. The number 4 thing, not the last thing, I did much more, but I'm going to share it for this video, is I did a lot more self-care. So I will sleep a little bit more. I'll relax a little bit more. I have seasons in which I have a list of things to do. I'll write those things down and I will just refuse to do it. Except if it's really urgent. I began to prioritize things and let some things slide. Not wanting everything to be perfect all the time and everything together. Because I noticed that when I now rest and relax and I get back up, I'm even more energized to do the things that I want to do. So I'll write my list and I'll get to you later, and then I'll just sometimes just lie down and just reflect a little bit, relax, snooze, do nothing. Just do things that have no order to it or timeline. And I have to admit that there were times that I may have missed some deadlines with things like, I don't know, maybe a late fee. So what? I'm one person and I'm doing a lot already. And I began to pat myself on the back. That's another thing I began to do. You're doing a good job. It's normal that you feel anxious. This too shall pass. And I have to admit to you that I actually had a few more episodes like that, where I actually felt the panic. And it was at a time when I was not really immediately like dealing with anything in the moment that I can recall. But I didn't jump out of bed and say I'm divorced again, but I'll just feel that numbness, and I'll feel like the right side of my body is limp. And instead of me rejecting it, I said, that's fine. Your body and your mind is processing it. And it's okay. You're going to be okay. You need to let it out. You need to give it the room to do what it's supposed to do. Instead of over denying it and working extra hard to minimize it, I let it sit and I let it pass. And I can tell you that I don't have any anxiety today. Zero anxiety. But I allowed myself to feel. And so my question for you today is, can you allow yourself to go through, to manage those emotions and those feelings of yours in a way that is manageable for your mind and your body? Are you working so hard and so busy that you are not giving yourself permission to process the feelings? Are you okay asking for help? So after that anxiety attack, panic attack, I started being very upfront with family and telling them I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I can't say that anymore. I can't continue in that conversation. And then one more thing I did, when I had a conversation that was overwhelming with anybody, if I noticed that to be a pattern with that person, I just minimize or end my contact with them. I began to do a lot more self-care, and talking to family about it and saying I actually do feel overwhelmed. I felt anxious, and that's why I'm not opening the letter right now, was actually empowering for me. I'm not opening it. I'm too anxious. When I feel better in like 24, 48 hours, I'll check it out, which means that I anticipated that things would get better, which it did, and it has. So I hope this has been an encouragement to you, whatever you're going through. Know that you're human. It's normal to feel when you go through very difficult times. The holiday season can be very difficult for a lot of people. Don't feel bad that you feel bad. It's okay not to be okay. The Christmas story was never a perfect story. The story of Jesus being born in a manger and there was no place for him to be born, that's not really all. That doesn't look as cute as some of us want it to look today. So I want you to just know that you're not alone, even though you may feel that way, and your feelings are normal. If you've been through, you can work through those feelings. You can acknowledge them. You can get help when you need it, and it's okay to be human. That's one of the blessings of being here. I'm a human like you in this wonderful journey that we call life, with the ups and the downs. And as I've been through this divorce, and 14 years after, I'm helping you, hopefully, and helping so many people in my work as a psychologist, I want you to know that there's light at the end of a tunnel. I want you to please subscribe, press that notification bell, and follow me please on social media at Ask Dr. Rolla, AskDrRola. Thank you. Bye now.